the road to the Oscars, and we're celebrating Black History Month with the remarkable Ray Montague. She is a real hidden figure. She broke barriers just like the women in the movie and transformed the design process for all Navy ships. We're going to have the honor of speaking to her in just a moment, but first I want everybody to know your remarkable story.
What do you guys do for NASA?
Calculate your launch and landing site.
The Oscar-nominated film Hidden Figures celebrates the true story of three African-American women who helped propel the U.S. space program to new heights: Mary Jackson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Katherine Johnson.
I analyzed the manometer levels for air displacement, friction, and velocity.
As they were breaking barriers at NASA, another hidden figure, Ray Montague, was making history at the Navy.
I am known as the first person to design a ship using a computer. And I was the first female program manager of ships in the history of the Navy, which was the equivalent of being the CEO of a company.
The Little Rock native was a child of the segregated South and never saw an engineer who looked like her.
My mother told me when I was a very little girl, Ray, you'll have 3 strikes against you. You're female and you're black, and you'll have a Southern segregated school education. But you can be or do anything you want, provided you're educated.
She would go on to receive a Bachelor of Science in Business, and in 1956, she moved to Washington, D.C. to begin her career with the Navy.
And they said, oh, you've got a Bachelor of Science. You're on the leading edge of technology. I didn't know that.
Over the next 14 years, she would shatter glass ceilings as a woman in a male-dominated field, surpassing those who would have held her back and maneuvering around every roadblock thrown in her path.
To think back to what she dealt with back then, especially with the gender variable as well, they thought that she was supposed to be getting them coffee, and then she was the one actually there in charge.
Today, 82-year-old Ray Montague is credited with revolutionizing the design process for all naval ships and submarines.
She had to keep proving herself over and over that she could do the job. But she took that with a smile too, and she was able to rise above those type of things.
Please welcome Mrs. Ray Montague. If you all noticed when the piece was running, how you were watching your story and you had the biggest smile on your face as you were watching. You lived it. Is it sometimes incredible to you where you are, what you overcame to be where you are today?
Growing up, Robert, in a segregated South, you never dreamed that these options were available to you. And I can remember wondering, where am I going? What am I going to be? And when I was 7 years old, my grandfather took me, this is during World War II, my grandfather took me to see a German mini submarine that had been captured off of the coast of the Carolinas. And they let me go inside. And of course, I saw the dials and mechanisms. And I said to the guy, what do you have to know to do this? He said, oh, you'd have to be an engineer. But you don't ever have to worry about that.
Oh.
And I didn't realize I'd been insulted. So I asked my mother to take me to find out what was required to become an engineer. And it was all the math and science. And of course, I pursued that. But in the long run, I just never dreamed that I would be credited with achieving as much as I did.
Well, you're deserving of all that you have accomplished and the way you have paved the way and the over 100 honors that you have received. But there's one in particular, the flag. Tell people why that was so special to you.
This was at my retirement. If you can imagine, the United States flag was flown over the nation's capital and presented to me at my retirement with a certificate from the architect of the Capitol saying that the flag was flown in my honor.
Oh.
Can you imagine that from a grateful nation? A little girl from Little Rock.
A grateful nation. Oh my God. I'm gonna get to because you remind me so much of my mom and my daddy right now. It's all I can do to keep it together. When so many people went to see Hidden Figures, what was it like for you to look up on the big screen and to see that these women, what they had done at NASA, that many people didn't know, much like they didn't know your story with the Navy? What was your reaction to seeing that film?
It was really my story, except for the fact that I didn't have to run that 1.5 miles to the restroom.
You didn't have to do that.
But I faced a lot of the same barriers that those ladies faced. And I can remember one time when I'd walk in the room, the guys always felt like, what's she doing here? And they thought I was a part of the help, okay? So as I walked into one group, the fellows looked at me and one of them said, I'd like a cup of coffee. And I said, so would I. Be sure mine has cream and sugar.
I love that spirit. Well, you know, we have a slight surprise. We know what's about to happen, but she does not know who is here. Would you please welcome one of the stars of Hidden Figures, Janelle Monáe is here.
You're gonna make me cry.
Oh, how beautiful. You are doing such a good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You did such a beautiful job.
Good. Let me take this for you right now.
All right.
She's gonna make me cry.
I know, isn't she?
Well, you know,
gosh.
the interesting thing is that Katherine Johnson,
Yes,
who did the orbital flight measurements, Katherine and I were both honored at Hampton University in 2010
Wow.
by the Honors Department with plaques that said, should have been nominated for a Nobel Prize.
Absolutely.
But you all were beautiful.
Thank you.
Just beautiful. And I know what you were going through because I was going through the same thing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And we thank you so much for your service. You are an American hero, and you are hidden no more. Everybody sees you as a hero.
Thank you. The role, and thank you for the beautiful flowers.
And you know, it means so much for you to be here. And the woman that you played, Mary Jackson, oh my goodness. And we have a clip from the movie because I know you said it was like seeing your life being played out. The first Black woman to be an engineer at NASA, and she needed to further her education for that to happen, and for that she needed to petition the judge.
Yes, I remember.
I plan on being an engineer at NASA, but I can't do that without taking them classes at that all-white high school. And I can't change the color of my skin. So I have no choice but to be the first, which I can't do without you, sir. Your Honor, out of all the cases you're gonna hear today, which one is gonna matter 100 years from now? Which one is gonna make you the first?
Gosh, she was not only intelligent, she was smart. What was it for you to play a role like that, Janelle?
Well, it was, you know, first of all, an honor to just honor these women. I had no clue who Mary Jackson was, who Miss Katherine Johnson was, Dorothy Vine, or any of the colored computers, as they called us back then. I didn't know these were the women who sent our first American astronauts into space. I mean, these are American heroes. Without their brains, we would not have you know, sent John Glenn, and I hear this is the anniversary for his orbital flight today. So this is a very special day, but I didn't know, and so to play someone who was the first, you know, I knew that this woman was brave. I knew that this woman was a leader. I knew that this woman was not doing it for selfish reasons, but she wanted to make sure that no other woman, no other human being who knew they had a right to the American dream you know, didn't get the opportunities to really pursue their goals and walk in their purpose.
Yeah.
I don't think she was really trying to be the first. She just wanted to contribute. I think race and gender became a thing when someone else made it a thing for her.
Much like with Mrs. Montague, same thing.